Assalamu alaikum friends, this time the channel like this will present a story about the story of Barsiso, a worshipper who died worshipping Satan, quoted from various sources. Okay, for more details, let's just look at the full story as follows. It is said that there lived a worshipper named Sheikh Barsiso at one time. He had a specialty that most people did not have. He was a pious figure who diligently worshipped in one place for 70 years. Every time after performing worship, Sheikh Barsiso did not leave his place of worship for 10 days. Seeing how devout the worship carried out by Sheikh Barsiso was, the demons competed to try to seduce him to commit sins against Allah. As a result, a white devil was appointed who had agreed to seduce Sheikh Barsiso. Not long after, the white devil transformed into all white clothes like a worshipper like Sheikh Barsiso. The devil then came to the residence of Sheikh Barsiso's place of worship after he had finished his usual worship activities. The devil then tried to call Sheikh Barsiso, but he ignored him in the slightest. Instead, Sheikh Barsiso immediately continued his worship as usual. Not running out of ideas, the white devil followed the worship rite at Sheikh Barsiso's residence. He followed the worship like Sheikh Barsiso, from morning to night. Seeing someone who was as strong in worship as he was, prompted Sheikh Barsiso to ask about the person's identity. "Oh Fulan, did you call me yesterday? Then is there a need concerning me?" Sheikh Barsiso asked the devil who had transformed into a worshipper. "I only ask that you be willing to pray for me. Because I see that you are a very devout worshipper." The devil requested, "If you are a Muslim, then I have indeed prayed for you along with all Muslims in the world." Sheikh Barsiso replied, "Then, I beg you to be willing to take me as your student. Because by me being your student, I can spend a lot of time with you while worshipping." The devil requested once again. Sheikh Barsiso agreed to the devil's request without the slightest suspicion. Some time later, Sheikh Barsiso continued his worship and the devil also joined in performing worship like Sheikh Barsiso. After both of them performed their worship, they left the place of worship for a moment and had a light conversation. During the conversation, the devil again launched his action, namely teasing Sheikh Barsiso. "Oh Sheikh Barsiso, don't you feel bored, doing worship every day? And don't you want to relax for a moment? Let's relax for a moment and find a woman to sleep with." Sheikh Barsiso quickly refused, "No. That is a major sin." Then Satan invited Sheikh Barsiso to rob and kill the shopkeeper. However, Sheikh Barsiso remained unpersuaded and said that it was a major sin. Not running out of ideas, the devil seduced Sheikh Barsiso to drink alcohol at a stall in the middle of the forest that he thought not many people came to. "Relax, Sheikh. There must be very few people visiting, so no one will know what we are doing," the devil whispered to seduce Sheikh Barsiso. Sheikh Barsiso was finally interested in the devil's explanation, and the two of them walked to the stall in the middle of the forest and drank alcohol, which caused Sheikh Barsiso to be very drunk. In the midst of his drunkenness, the devil told Sheikh Barsiso to stare at the beauty of the woman who was guarding the stall. Because he was under the influence of alcohol, Sheikh Barsiso's lust rose until he finally raped the woman. However, bad luck befell Sheikh Barsiso. After raping the woman, her husband found out what Sheikh Barsiso had done to his wife. Then the devil told Sheikh Barsiso to kill the woman's husband. Being under the influence of very strong alcohol, made Sheikh Barsiso lose his mind, until finally he killed the husband and wife. The commotion over the murder was soon heard by one of the residents who was looking for firewood in the middle of the forest. Until finally the resident called several residents who happened to be doing activities in the middle of the forest. Several residents dragged Sheikh Barsiso into the middle of the residential area by overtaking him using wood. While in such despair, Satan came to Sheikh Barsiso and explained who he was. In such an unfavorable condition, Satan offered help to Sheikh Barsiso by including a condition. The condition was, Sheikh Barsiso had to worship him. "How can I worship you, when your current condition is that my hands and feet are tied?" said Sheikh Barsiso. "Just blink your eyes and nod your head as a sign that you worship me," said the devil. A moment after blinking and nodding his head, Allah took Sheikh Barsiso's life. Until finally a very famous religious scholar who had many students had to leave this world in a su'ul khotima condition. Na'udzu billahi min zalik. Well, friends, that's all the story about the story of Barsisha, a worshipper who died worshipping Satan that can be presented. I apologize if there are errors in the description or images presented, because they are intended only to sweeten the story so that it is easier to understand. Thank you for watching. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.